Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we come to the last session of the day before the awards. So all the invitees for the awards, we start the RE Awards, Vinux Awards at 3 p.m. Please join us for the awards. The invites have been passed on to all the invitees. Uh, the session, one of the most prolific sessions for the day, Bioenergy, a nature-to-nature based reliable solution for the emerging Indian market. I would request you all to please take your seats while I invite the moderator of the day, Chairman, Indian Biogas Association, Mr. Gaurav Kedia. Gaurav, please. Mr. Vijaykumar Lanka, Managing Director, ARMATEC-FTS India Private Limited. Mr. Kiran Kumar, KK, Managing Director, Kashyap and Virji Infrastructures Private Limited. Mr. Nandigama Chandrasekhar, Founder Director, Jivoule Biofuels. Mr. Srinivas Kasula, Director, Arca Benstek Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start with the session. Rahul, Suruchi, we're about to start with the session. If you guys are joining us, thank you. Great.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Well, we know that we are sitting between lunch and this session. So just bear with us for 1 hour. We'll make sure that you enjoy thoroughly this 1 hour. We are going to have a lot of discussion, a lot of questions, hopefully. And we'll try to make it as simple as possible. And that's why, the way we want to portray is very simple. We talk about bioenergy. So bio, in fact, is life. I hope all of us agree to this. Yeah? Bio is equivalent to life. And when you talk about bioenergy, I think since the time the life is there on Earth, we are using bioenergy. It's something different that we talk about in very different form as well today. Perhaps it was not the case whether we were burning wood, whether we were burning any other biomass, or we were utilizing biomass. And one of the things we want to do in this session is to burst a lot of myth and also give you a different perspective. For example, we talk about battery. I think REI is going to have a big battery show. So when we talk about battery, all the time we have this lithium-ion battery or acid-based battery and all this kind of thing. But if you really see what is battery, battery is something which stores the energy, right? And when you talk about any of the biomass, whether let's say it's wood, so this is also storing the energy. I hope all of you are with me. So basically biomass is nothing but it's a battery. So you can store the energy, or we should appreciate the way nature is behaving. We have talked about nature to nature philosophy over here. So nature is actually sequestrating carbon in the form of biomass. And let's say if I talk about the water purification, how is nature purifying? Because nature has got its own unique way which is sustainable. When you talk again from the technical side, even from the financial side, even from the social side. So how does nature purify water? So firstly, you see the sunlight coming on the water, let's say wastewater, and then the UV is, UV treatment is happening. Then water evaporation takes place. Yeah? And then you can even talk about ozonization. You can talk about condensation. It goes through the aquifer. You can talk about the mineralization. So it's a nature to nature phenomena. So if you want to replicate, if you want to come out with something innovative, you don't need to think hard. Just replicate the way nature does. Of course, I'm oversimplifying a lot of fact, but the fact remains that if something is based on nature to nature philosophy, believe me, it is sustainable by default. We don't need to really rethink it. The only thing, as I told you, that we need to just be a little cautious. We need to be cautious towards the people, towards the planet, and of course, people wants to be cautious towards profit as well, but that should come at the end because we need to look at the holistic picture. That's why we all are gathered over here. So we don't want to bombard with a lot of knowledge, a lot of facts and figures. If you want, we can, but we want to give you enough feel so that after 1 hour when you are out of this room, you have some good feel about the whole sector. You know at least what can be done, what cannot be done, and what might be done, because some of the innovative ideas come from the room like this, where people think from very basic at the, when the foundation is strong, you can build the building, but the foundation has to be strong. And that's the whole idea today. So we'll talk about a lot of technical issues, we'll talk about financial and social as well, because ultimately, many of the time, we land up with the fact that, it's about the waste. Of course, it's about the waste, but we are generating the waste. In fact, if someone is coming to clean the waste, we say that kachra wala is there. Actually, we are the kachra wala, he is the safai wala, right? It's other way around. So we need to socially see what can be really done in a very appropriate manner without demeaning anyone. And believe me, this is one of the sector we are very not only enthusiastic, we see a lot of potential, and as I told you that it is being used. The only thing is that many times in bioenergy field, the reported data is misleading because maybe someone is using bioenergy in a decentralized manner in one corner of the country, and we are not getting the data. So let's not get confused with a lot of data as far as the bioenergy is concerned. And bioenergy is there from, I don't know, Lord Krishna time, as simple as it. So nothing new. The new is that we are talking about decentralized, we are talking about centralized as well. And when you see the whole value chain, whether you talk about solid, liquid or gaseous fuel. So when you talk about solid, let's say you have the biomass gasification, etc. When you talk about biodiesel, ethanol, etc., you talk about the liquid part. You can even talk about the gasification part from sink route as well. The first one which you are talking, biomass gasification. You even get the hydrogen out of it. We can talk about biogas, which is really one of the emerging topic. In the recent, how do you say, the speech, the budget speech from Honorable Minister Sitaramanji, she talked at least 5 times about biogas in the different manner. So that's the kind of emphasis government is giving, because this can be in true sense Make in India thing. This can be in true sense Atmanirbhar thing, this self-reliant thing, and this is something which can be done within India, right? We are really not dependent on the foreign entity. Of course, if something is good, we should be open for any such technological intervention. We should be open for any solution. Yeah. So what I will do, I will open the floor with this. I will go through the introduction round. So my name is Gaurav Kedia, as you know now. So personally, I even teach in IIM Ahmedabad, and this is my subject, managing energy business. And bioenergy is my personal passion, and I think I'm really glad that we have got some of the best brain which you can see in bioenergy field. So maybe I will start from the right hand side with you, Chandrasekhar ji. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thank you, Gaurav ji. Thank you, panelists. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chandrasekhar, and I'm the founder of a startup company, Jivoule Biofuels. We are based out of Hyderabad, Telangana. We are pioneering the biofuels movement or energy in our country. I'll discuss more about what we are doing when we discuss, but this is my introduction for now.
Thank you. Mr. Vijay.
Hello. Hello everyone. Thank you Gaurav ji. Thank you IBA and thank you RenewX for this opportunity. I am Vijaykumar Lanka. I am Managing Director of ARMATEC-FTS India Private Limited. We are a German company. We are into manufacturing of mixers, pumps and separating equipment for the biogas industry.
Thank you, Gaurav. I'm Srinivas Kasula, Director, Arca Brainstech Private Limited, and we are into biogas, and we have installed around more than 200 odd biogas plants based out of various size, small scale, medium scale, and large scale. And our core is, biogas. That's all I want to add. And maybe during the session we will cover something more.
Mr. Kiran.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Gaurav. My name is Kiran KK. I am Managing Director, Kashyap Energy Infrastructures Private Limited. We work in environment and energy sectors. We do joint research with IIT Hyderabad, and we have developed successfully two patents registered under a joint registration. We execute anaerobic digesters projects in India, and we also do it in Malaysia. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So maybe I can start with the first point as well. So basically, when you talk about sustainability, it has got many dimensions. There is something called SDG as well, Sustainable Development Goal. But just to keep it even simple, so as I told you at the beginning, we can talk from the technical side, we can talk from the financial side, and we can talk from the social side. Social side is even more important, especially when you talk about something like bioenergy, because you have to deal with the people in a manner which you don't need to do, let's say in case of solar. I mean, once you put the plant, solar energy, you are getting the energy for free as such. Wind, you are getting it for free. You don't need to really deal, with people in that manner. But here, you need to take care of the supply chain as well, and you need to be sure about that you get the waste. For example, in Hyderabad, there must be tons and tons of waste available, kitchen waste available. But is it available to me? And that too, at the right time, at the right price, yeah, and in the right quantity and quality. That's a $1 million question as such. I mean, I don't know how to answer. That's why the social aspect, the social modeling becomes very important in bioenergy. A lot of plants failed just because raw material was not available or they got some other utilization. So we need to be very vigilant about it. That's why when we talk about sustainability, these are the three buckets. Maybe, Mr. Kasula, you have a lot of experience in sustainability as such, and you are also active in waste management field. So it will be quite good to hear your thought on sustainability, and that too, how bioenergy plays a bigger role as far as the sustainability is concerned.
Yes, Gaurav, when we are talking about sustainability or any project or any concept, I always guide my clients as well as the people come to me that first you need to do the pre-feasibility done. Okay, pre-feasibility is the stage where the company or the project needs to be understood, and at that stage, right from when you're talking about sustainability and economic viability of any project, okay, the technical commercial viability will be there, but unless you do the pre-feasibility and the numbers are in place, I don't recommend to go ahead. Second step is, once the pre-feasibility is done, go ahead with the laboratory testing of any feedstock or the project you are doing. So right now what is happening is nobody is looking at the laboratory test or the ground on ground reality. They are just looking at the numbers or want to copy what the Western countries or European Europe has done, and just copy paste the numbers. So instead of doing that, like to give an example, if we are talking about food and vegetable waste, food and vegetable waste will have different gas potential in Hyderabad, and it will be having a different gas potential if you test it in the northern part of the country. And this we have realized. And almost the total solid content will range between 70 to 18%, but the gas production and the potential completely changes. So these are the smaller things which we need to look at the a project before taking any bigger steps. And apart from this, one more thing which most of the companies and projects hesitate is appointing a third party consultant or you can say organization which will overlook the activities of the project as well as the technology supplier. So these are the points which I wanted to add personally, so that the entire project can be looked at from a sustainable point of view.
So I think, so you mainly talk from the technical perspective. Of course, it's important. And technology is something, many times in India and abroad as well, people misinterpret. People get confused with process and technology. So sometimes if you know the process, then you think that, okay, I know the technology, which is not true. I personally worked for a company like Shell in Germany, and I understood that when you talk about technology, it means that each nut and bolt you have really modeled it out properly, you have really simulated, and then you know that what might happen and what might not happen. So, I mean, working is one thing, but safety is another aspect which is very important. Maybe from the sustainability perspective, we understood what, the way it works in India. You have got a lot of experience in Malaysia as well. Would you like to throw some light on it?
Yeah. See, this bioenergy, as we can see that, it's from nature to nature and a reliable solution for the, emerging Indian market. So essentially, bioenergy has caught attention all over, India right now. And in the year 2018, the government, recognizing this, have launched a program called SETAT, Sustainable Alternative to Affordable Transportation, wherein the energy demand, the fuel demand for the country's economy is to be met through gas. So the economy shift towards the gas economy is being envisaged. So bioenergy, which can be tapped through any wastewater or solid waste in the form of methane. So the methane capture is the thrust of this program, wherein the waste to energy is the main theme of these projects. Similar things are happening in Malaysia also. In Malaysia, in the year 2013, they launched a feed-in tariff program, wherein the industrial wastewater, essentially from the palm oil mills, the wastewater to be treated, the methane is to be captured, and there the methane is used to run the engines, biogas engines, to generate power, and the government buys the entire power generated in this manner. So there is a lot of awareness in Southeast Asian countries in this field.
That's an interesting point. So basically, what he also meant, Indian government wants to move towards the gas-based economy. I think many of you might already be knowing that they want to have up to 15% in the whole energy mix. I think this is where bioenergy, especially when you talk about biogas or upgraded biogas, plays its role, because you can just blend it with CNG. It's as simple as it. Government is also thinking about the quota so that it becomes mandatory that you have, let's say, 2.5% is the talk right now, that much blending should happen in the normal natural gas. So definitely this will give it a push. But the pull has to be there. I think the pull comes from the market, from people like you and me, that we should be ready to pay extra price. If we don't want to do this, then we should be ready to pay for the carbon taxes or something like this, which will eventually happen. I mean, normally in Germany, you can just choose that once you have the electricity bill, you can say that this much I want from nuclear. They are phasing it out now anyways. This one I want from solar, this one I want from other sources. But nevertheless, that's what will happen whether or not we want, because ultimately, the planet has to survive. So we need to model it out. With so much of population on earth, especially in a country like India, we are #1 now, so we need to be very much disciplined. But discipline also needs to be quantified. But definitely, I think this is one step towards that sustainability only. That's what we are looking into. Maybe I come to you, Mr. Vijay, because in Germany now, what is also happening, I think you must be knowing as well that German government is pushing towards the efficient system. So for example, in agitation, so instead of the old agitator which are not so efficient or maybe consuming more power, they want to push for the new one, and you can replace, and government is also trying to give some subsidy, etc. Maybe in India also we'll try to look for some kind of mechanism where efficiency also plays a big role. Any comment on that?
I mean, right now in Germany, if you, not only agitators or something, any equipment regarding related to industry, if you replace the old machines with energy efficient machines, okay, government is, I mean, they are funding 40% of the capital. Okay, even for example, for our agitators, we used to supply the same kind of agitators 10-15 years ago, okay, with a 22 kilowatt connected load and everything. Right now, those agitators are with 7.5 and 11 kilowatt agitators with the same efficiency. Okay, if the customer, if the plant owner want to replace these agitator with energy efficient agitators, new generation agitators, government is funding 40%. I mean, it's not funding. Government is paying 40% of the cost, and the customer has to pay 60% of the cost. And because of this, right now Germany is not importing the gas from Russia and everything. So because of the reason, they want to save the energy, and this was really helping for them.
I mean, normally the scenario like Russia-Ukraine war, etc., these are very volatile scenario. But definitely, if you see the positive side of it, the positive side is that countries like Germany, India as well, we want to be self-reliant. And when you talk about gas-based economy, again, when I do the backward integration, then definitely bioenergy plays a big role. One of the things with bioenergy is that when you get the energy, along with the energy, you get another component, which is beautiful, right? When you talk about biodiesel, along with diesel, you get glycerin. When you talk about biogas, along with biogas, you get fertilizer. When you talk about biomass gasification, along with syngas, you get carbon black or something like this. Yeah, you can even make activated carbon out of it. Yeah? So that's one of the very interesting aspect of bioenergy. And this playing with the efficiency is also very important because nowadays, when you talk about carbon credit, let's say, so let's say you have the old cook stoves. People are just replacing those, not today, from many years now, with the efficient one. So this should not be just limited with one area. Now it's totally open. So even in refinery, someone is going to replace some old machinery with the new one, efficient one, and it is going to decrease their carbon footprint. I think that is a welcome stay. And not only that, they can also claim money for that. So nothing like it. Maybe with this, I come to you, Mr. Chandrasekhar, because you are into startup field right now. And what's your experience in general when you talk about, let's say, technology-wise, we understand now a lot can be done. But when you really go on the ground, the financial sustainability itself is a big question mark many times. Because ultimately, if it's not financially sustainable, it's good to talk about. Just before this, when agrovoltaic session was happening, this was one of the questions which was coming from the audience for the right reason, right? Ultimately, if it's not financially viable, it's good to talk about. So there might be some push from the government side in form of policy, in form of some other incentive, but there has to be a pull factor. And many times the startups, they feel this pain that, the push is also not there and the pull, perhaps it will be there in future. Maybe if you can throw some light, especially from biofuel point of view, that will be quite good.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I'm the founder of the startup. So I have traveled on ground and seen myself firsthand what is the situation, right? So definitely, the biofuel policy that came in 2018 gave a good impetus for founders like me. It is there at very, very high level. Ground level, mein, the same policy that is there, it is not, the communication has not reached. So for bioenergy to succeed, lot of people, lot of stakeholders, we need to collaborate. Because not one single founder or one single entrepreneur can generate finances sustainably. Because there are many players need to be done. For example, to set up a CBG plant, we need continuous supply of feedstock. And the feedstock is not available with us. It is available with local government. And local government, they need to understand how CBG can be generated by partnering with us so that they'll also get revenue. But they are not having that awareness. They don't understand it. It is also because of the old mindset. Everything changed now. The business model has developed. The price that government is giving is viable price. So financially it is sustainable. And this waste is ending up only in landfills. Recently in Kochi also there was a big fire because of the same methane that is released from food waste. It's a big problem. So instead of that, people need to think that food waste is a new resource. Every city generates this food waste. If we can generate biogas and CBG, it will be a perfect sustainable solution and it can generate a lot of employment. And it is a big business model. Like that, we can set up a complete ecosystem. And everyone is needed for this.
Definitely. I mean, this is what we were talking at the beginning, that social modeling is very, very, very important. One of the model I know people tried in Gujarat, I was also a part of it, this Gobar Bank kind of model. Yeah? So they named it Gobar Bank. So just like in a bank, people used to come in village, deposit the dung, cattle dung, and they used to write it in their passbook that how much dung they are getting. And in return, they were getting it cooking gas through pipeline in the middle of nowhere. Amul helped in this project. At the end of the month, they were settling down everything in cash, how much gas they have consumed, how much dung they have given, how much fertilizer they took. And but still, it's not easy to do that because the same model was tried to be replicated in UP. They could not because the social dynamic was very different. In Gujarat, they even did a backward integration of it, and they came out with a concept called animal hostel, just to put all the animal under one shed. And the idea was that they don't pay for anything, but the dung belongs to the committee as such, and based on the biogas, they were trying to figure out how to really model it out from financial perspective. But social modeling is something very important, as you rightly pointed out. Availability is one thing, but availability to us is $1 million question in bioenergy field. And this is where I think a lot of struggle is happening. People like you who are sitting over here and listening, more and more ideas would be generated and would be welcome, in fact, that can really create some impact, some ripple on ground. I think that is the need of the hour. That's what I understood. And also the collaborative approach, because everyone is working in silo. That's something which hampers not only the motivation, but also the sole purpose when we talk about something like reliable solution, which you see at my back in the topic itself. So the reliability has to be there. Otherwise, everything will go for a toss. Also, when you see in Punjab area, a lot of husk-based power plant came, but rice husk price became so costly. At the beginning, when they modeled it out, the price was around 50 paise. Right now, I heard that it even goes up to 8 rupees or something like this. I mean, you can't have a business model based on that. That's why a lot of plants, in fact, they are not running. It's simply they are not performing as set now. But nevertheless, that's a kind of challenges we face in any sector, especially when it's the growing sector. Maybe we can understand some of the challenges which all of you faced on ground. Maybe we can start with you. If you can talk about the challenges, and of course, how did you face and how did you really sorted it out? That will even give us a little more wisdom to tackle such kind of problem. Yeah.
As our Mr. Chandrasekhar, the young entrepreneur, has rightly pointed out, the raw material availability, that is for the bioenergy projects, is a real question mark. Basically, the policy like under SETAT, which has been found by the central government, has to properly percolate down the line in various states and various ministries, and that is where it is lacking actually. The other challenge what is observed is the bioenergy projects are brought under priority sector lending, but the banks are again they have their own way of looking at funding these projects. So there again this is a very standard challenge, not only for the bioenergy projects, maybe for most of the other new kind of projects. So this is another challenge which is to be addressed. These being kind of a new applications of bioenergy, the standards have to be in place. So on that, of course, the standardization of these projects have been taken up, and Mr. Srinivas has done, he's a pioneering work in bringing about these standards for this biogas. And so these are the few challenges that we come across.
Definitely. I mean, these are the challenges, but I can just assure you that government is really working day and night. At least they have got the ear to listen to us. That's why the program like Satat, from offtake perspective, we have a lot of subsidy as well now from the central government. Many of the states are considering to give the state subsidy the way UP did. So basically, normally when you talk about subsidy, you can only have one subsidy. This is one of the very rare exception where you can have two subsidy. So if I talk about 1 megawatt electrical equivalent biogas plant, which is producing bio-CNG, you can have around 4 crore of subsidy from the central government and almost 3.5 crore of subsidy from the UP government. And most of the other states are also looking for it. Of course, these are a kind of push we can expect, but ultimately the pull has to be there. I mean, let's be very upfront in accepting this fact. Otherwise, few of the plants will be there on ground mainly because of subsidy, and then nothing will happen in future. We don't want to have such kind of scenario, because that's even more detrimental, because people will feel that this all have been done just for the sake of subsidy, which doesn't give the good feeling. As an investor, I would say that we will feel demotivated rather. But definitely, not only that, again, technical, financial, and social. So technically, I think we are very lucky that Mr. Kasula is here. He is one of the pioneer who was chairing or leading, in fact, this BI standard. Indian Biogas Station was a part of it as well. Maybe we can hear from you that how did you really try to de-risk this risk, which is still there perhaps because the standards are, I don't know if it's totally perfect or not. Maybe we can hear it out from you.
Yes, thank you, Gaurav. And see, after spending almost 20 years in the industry, I can only say that I can write literally a thesis on the barriers or the challenges which we must have faced. Just to give an example, like everybody talks about the potential. Yes, if you talk about world potential, then it's almost presently we are at 35 million metric tons of bio CNG equivalent. The potential is almost 21 times more. So we are hardly, touched anything. If you talk about Indian gas scenario, then Indian gas energy mix is at 6% right now. And this Indian government has declared that, they want to touch to 15% from bio CNG or the energy mix. So this is the potential which 6% we have reached from past 20 years. And in another 6 years, we are going to touch another 8%. So this is what we are talking about. And challenges, if I see, yes, no doubt the consistent regular supply of feedstock is a challenge. But when you talk about social engineering part, like, everybody talks about the project and they think that biogas is generated, bio CNG can be sold and organic manure is generated. Both the slurry and the solid manure can be sold or distributed quite easily. But when we had installed India's first large-scale project in 2009-2010, actually we found the major challenge was selling of this organic manure to a farmer. Because believe me, convincing a farmer is one of the toughest job in our country. And once the farmer is convinced, you don't have to convince anyone. He will automatically get 100 farmers. And this is what has happened. When we started marketing and selling the organic manure to the farmer, he didn't believe on us. Then we started to adopt the geo system of giving it for free for 6 months to a year. Then believe me, once the farmer saw the changes with the mouth publicity and farmer bought 100 farmers. Farmer only listens to a farmer and he never will listen to a technical person or a technology guy. So this was one of the major challenge which I particularly found where we didn't spend any time finding the manure buyers. Even at right now, the almost 200 projects are under installation or being installed right now and maybe under commissioning. And the major challenge in all these projects is the buyback guarantee or the consistent buyback guarantee for 365 days of the organic manure. Though we have discussed with major buyers, they are ready to buy for 200 days or 220 days. But the organic manure is a kind of product which you are going to get on daily basis. Suppose you are adding 100 tons of food and vegetable waste to your plant. 20 tons to 25 tons is what the organic manure would be generated on daily basis. So this needs to be disposed of or taken care of, or we need to look at the buyers for this type of organic manure. Or if you don't find the right buyers at the right time to solve one problem, there would be you'll start creating another problem at site. So you might need huge amount of land to store that organic manure, both solid and liquid. So this is one of the challenge which particularly I found, because when you talk about technology, I can only say that technology has already seen its days, and right now it's the time for biogas. And I can only say that biogas change is happening, and India is already strengthening its link between renewable energy and agriculture. And this is what is a requirement of the future and present.
Well, one of the interesting fact which I personally experienced when dealing with farmer for several years, we at the beginning, as I told you, that I was a part of this Gobar Bank as well. But after a lot of, after spending a lot of time with them, I understood that we all are doing, we are doing a very basic mistake. So because we are not thinking from the farmer's perspective. So let me just give you an example to make it even more explicit. Perhaps I will even repeat this in Hindi. Any business in the world, any business right now as well, it's between men and men. Any business you think, any kind of business, कोई भी प्रकार का यदि आप business सोचते हैं, ये मनुष्य और मनुष्य के बीच में होता है. It's only the farmer who does business between nature and man. सिर्फ किसान ही एक ऐसा व्यक्ति है जो प्रकृति और मनुष्य के बीच में बिजनेस करता है. तो why will they'll listen to us. They will listen to the nature. They will listen to their own people. And that's one of the mistake we all do. I mean, as I told you that personally, I spent a lot of time in Germany. I came back to India. I thought I know everything. Then spending time with them, I understood I don't know anything. They know everything. So I think this is where the social part plays a very big role to understand what they need, to learn from them, to unlearn what what we have in our mind in a manner that we are educated. Actually, they are educated. I mean, maybe academically we know a little bit more, but we are not the educated person the way we are trying to portray. So that's one of the very basic thing we need to keep it in mind, especially when we are dealing with anyone. So the farmer topic came, so I thought to share this one of the experience. Otherwise, we get so many challenges for nothing. The social challenges, it's for nothing. In case we can figure out the basic fundamental of all this thing, it will be easier for us to give a solution, and that too in practice, not a theoretical challenge I'm talking about. Maybe with this, I will come to the next point from the startup again perspective. You talked about the raw material supply chain issue and the challenge. But startup also has got a lot of challenge when you go and raise finance for such kind of idea, which are environmentally sensitive, which are socially sensitive. How easy or how difficult you see to raise fund for such kind of business idea?
Yeah, it is tough. On ground, definitely it is tough because this is not like a conventional project, right? Like solar, it is proven. Wind project, it is proven. But biogas and CBG is still not yet proven. Banks, they don't understand about all the dynamics, technology, the raw material issue or the buyback from oil manufacturing companies as part of Satat scheme. No, they're not still understanding the technology side. For example, all PSU banks are ready to give loans to CBG project, as per the government and as per the RBI. But are they ready to give on ground to a startup? It is still not there. There are a lot of issues are there. I want to develop a project in Hyderabad, and I have reached PSU banks, and I waited for 6 months for them to give me after I submitted DPR, after I submitted every document, after 6 months, they're still asking me so many questions. Even though it is a priority sector lending, even though I have an agreement from local, offtake supplier like Baginer Gas Limited. So these are all ground challenges. We need to build successful case studies one by one, so that everyone in the stakeholder system understands, okay, we are generating wealth out of this waste, and it is going to be a new sector for everything, for renewable energy, for waste, for green jobs. All these things are all are interlinked.
Yeah, makes sense in fact. I mean, normally the definition of a startup is that startup or entrepreneurs, they solve a problem, and while solving that problem, they earn money. And here it's a big problem. And I think one of the point which I missed, which you pointed out, one of the challenge over here is also to deal with a lot of ministries. It's not only one ministry which is responsible for it. If I want, the buyback guarantee or buyback things to look into, then I have to go to MOPNG or even the agricultural ministry perhaps. If I want subsidy, I need to go to MNRE. If I want to look into the supply chain, perhaps I need to look into n number of ministries, including MODWS. So that's another big challenge, I think.
And time is very, very critical for startup.
Indeed.
Because you can't wait like a big company or some other company 2 years, 3 years, right? I can understand, it may take 1 month, 2 months, okay. But 1.5 years, 2 years is too much of time for startup founders, because everyone has got limited resilience. We don't have infinite resilience. And that is the crucial, you mentioned about critical thing, pull factor. That pull factor will come when all the forces are aligned, and so that it attracts that curiosity, interest, so that more entrepreneurs and so more startups would come.
So what motivates you, in fact, to be in this field? Because I think you are already in this field from last 3 years
3 years,
now.
yes.
Yeah. So what motivates you to continue in this field and to really ensure that you reach the end goal, that is success?
Well, I say I didn't still reach my end point. There's still a lot of journey is there. But because of this startup ecosystem now more matured, I'm getting support. But it is not still equivalent to the what that is needed. So a lot of encouragement is coming. There's progress is there. We are doing one project in Tirupur, Tamil Nadu, where we are working with them and revived the entire plant and generating biogas and then power out of that. So that's a good successful project. And we have opportunities. So these positive opportunities, make me more be in the game still.
That sounds interesting. Maybe I come to you now because you're already doing a successful business in this field, especially when you talk about bioenergy. So, how do you see this going further? I mean, are you optimistic about it, or what are the different market dynamics you see which might change in future? Let's say in your field only, which is stirring the whole biogas slurry, or maybe anything add on to this?
Actually, see, I mean, for the,
Maybe you can use this.
I mean, from the past few years, the business was really good and it is encouraging. Biogas market is growing. Now, I mean, there are some challenges. See, we get so many inquiries and people are interested, but the budgets of the, see, if the people want to import the machinery from Germany, okay, and the price the price factor is coming, and this is the reason, and people are just making some local equipment, jugaad, or people copied equipment they are using, and they are landing into the troubles. And here I really see even government should have some policy for this energy efficient machines, and also they have to support on import duties or something like that. Then with I can see more plants commercially viable.
So that's always easy to demand from the government, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I think we should keep doing that. I am not denying that, but nevertheless, I think we should look for the pull factor from the market as well. And but fortunately, carbon market is allowing to have a little bit of pull, and still the compliance market is not totally in place, but people are very positive about it. I think this will come by default. I mean, Indian government also wants to have its own so-called market as far as the carbon is concerned. I think this all will add up, and finally this will happen. The pull itself will happen. Otherwise, personally, I feel whenever we interact with government, I'm sure that all of you interact, that they also have the boundary conditions, which is not so easy. And as you rightly said, Mr. Chandrasekhar, that the time, and then time flies, and maybe the government official changes by that time. I mean, it's not a very good feeling then. So that's why we are always at least at the association along with our members, we try to look for a solution which can be done by ourselves if possible. And of course, the government policy can scale it up. That's the beauty of the policy is it can really help us to scale it up. So many times, we try to look for a solution so that the power is in our hand. But nevertheless, of course, we need to have some conducive policy which helps the sector. Otherwise, the way you said that the custom duty or other things, we need to really, keep a check on that. Otherwise, many times the viability of the project doesn't really come into picture. You have so many risk involved into it, and at the same time, when it becomes costlier, the further risk is added. It doesn't simply add up; it multiplies. In fact, it becomes multifold. Definitely, that's one of the challenge we see in the bioenergy. But maybe I can come to the decentralized solution as well, because you also, I think, put the plant in Rashtrapati Bhavan event. What's your idea of handling this bioenergy in a decentralized manner?
Uh, if you talk about decentralized or decentralized solutions, yes, it's a perfect solution. But again, it depends on the site specific or location. Like if you see 2001, I started my journey from Mumbai, and it was very much difficult for me to explain people to install a biogas plant which will consume 10 meters by 5 meters space, because space is almost was costlier than gold in Mumbai. But at the same time, if you try to explain the same concept in the southern part of the country, yes, people will understand. And this is where my mentor always used to tell us that, whenever you're planning a city, plan for the toilet like we plan for a toilet at house. Okay, whenever we plan a home, we have a dedicated space for toilet. But when it comes to waste management, I don't understand. People talk about, what would be the IRR and what would be the payback period. And this is a very vague statement. As I said that, decentralized models, when it comes to treating organic waste, food waste and vegetable waste, this is the perfect solution to treat the waste right at the spot of wherever it is generated. Like for hotels or the societies or wherever it is, the bulk waste generators are there. Wherever the waste is generated more than 500 to 500 kgs a day or 1000 kgs a day, it can be treated in-house. We don't have to transport the waste in a bulk way to the landfill and then try to segregate and treat the waste. So the solutions are already available. There are many companies who are providing the solutions to treat the waste on site itself. Apart from this, if you see the collective waste, like decentralized models, bigger models than the 500 kgs or 1 tons would be treating 5 tons to 10 tons or maybe 20 tons ward wise. And this is again a perfect solution which will, installing a 20-ton plant in a particular municipal corporation ward will avoid almost approximately 30 to 35 tons of waste to the landfill. So this is another best model which suits, and based on the different models like small scale, medium scale and large scale, this is where we can target a city, and I don't see that this is not achievable, and already many of the cities like Indore, Pune, Mumbai have already started and targeting the waste and treating it on site. So according to me, this should not be a problem at all.
That reminds me one of the very famous line of our president, Dr. A.R. Shukla. He was the head of MNRE as well of Bioenergy division. He always says that the day one person goes to file an FIR saying that my waste has been stolen is the day we will feel that bioenergy becomes a success. Yeah? But nevertheless, a lot of challenges, but that's a positive side of it, which we are trying to deduce. But what I understood from you is that when you talk about decentralized versus centralized, there is no clear-cut winner. We need to really look at the possibility of several other factors, right?
See, when you're talking about, as I said, that the biogas or the bioenergy is completely dependent on the feedstock. So when you're talking about food and vegetable waste, yes, decentralized can be a solution. But at the same time, if you're talking about any industrial waste like press mud or spent wash, sugar industry effluent, or starch water, or agricultural waste, then centralized plants would be a best option for treating large amount of waste, because over there the mixing or the unsegregated waste is not a question. But when you talk about food and vegetable waste, yes, glass, plastic, or n number of non-biodegradable waste is mixed, and that is where we are not able to treat the waste. We are creating the waste, again we are mixing it, and then we want to segregate the waste. So this problem of segregation is not able to be solved. So that is the reason that for food and vegetable waste, decentralized solutions would be the perfect or best solutions. And for any other type of waste which is not which is not mixed with any other foreign bodies, can be treated in a centralized way.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah? And one of the things you pointed out was IRR. In fact, very often we come to this discussion, what is the IRR of this waste treatment plant and all this thing. The simple logic is that we have got a table over here, we have got a chair over here, we have got the light over here. I mean, do we talk about the IRR? I mean, we need it, right? And we are creating the waste. We need to really treat those waste as well. If we don't do it, let's outsource it. I mean, that's not an issue, but we need to pay for it. I mean, polluter pay principle, as simple as it, and that will ultimately happen. We want or we don't want, this is going to happen. Imagine, I mean, no one in India earlier thought that we need to buy the polythene to put the waste and then dispose it, right? Although that's the right way, so that it can further be taken to the right place to get it treated. But nevertheless, ultimately we'll need to do this. We want or we don't want, that's another story. But definitely the planet needs that, the environment needs that, that the disposable happens in one of the right manner. He talked about the landfill. I mean, many times we talk about a lot of ill effect of landfill, right? We all know that it creates a lot of odor. We all know that it pollutes the water, surface water, groundwater. But do we really know that it even kills the nutrient which should go back to the mother land which is being ended at landfill. So basically when any crop grows, it harnesses nutrient from the mother land, right, Mother Earth. And basically the nutrient should go back to the Mother Earth again in the form of fertilizer. But what is happening that we are dumping the nutrient in landfill, or we are locking the nutrient in the landfill. So if I just sketch a very gloomy picture, perhaps in future you'll have the banana but without a peel. Perhaps you'll have a mango but without a kernel. Of course, I'm again exaggerating, but this is what is happening. So the situation is really serious, even though we don't accept it. Perhaps everything looks very normal to us because it has been normalized because of many, many issues, social issues as well. I think this is where the bioenergy plays a big, big role. And maybe we can have your thought as well on it when you talk about the whole ecosystem, how to really create that in a manner that we all understand that it's a part of our duty. We have to do that instead of just ignoring, because ignoring is not a solution. We need a reliable solution.
Yeah, Mr. Gaurav. This is a very interesting thing. Aspect of bioenergy is also there. As it comes from nature, and it is to be given back to the nature as well. In fact, there is a lot of innovation which is taking place in bioenergy. In fact, as you see that, for example, if it is the bioenergy and environment, both are very closely related. So in the environment, we can see that you have wastewater which needs to be treated, to be reused and all that. And you have the bacteria, different types of bacteria, aerobic bacteria, for example, which does this job of treating wastewater. And then we have been working on bringing about some kind of algae, which in unison with the bacteria, it's like a give and take kind of a policy. The algae, they fix the carbon dioxide. I mean, they take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and then they, give out air, actually oxygen. So which in turn is taken by the aerobic bacteria, and they consume the organic matter and purify the water. So thereby, there is a symbiotic relationship between them, which already exists in the nature. So it is just to be, picked up and engineered. So we have taken up a project like that, and it is on a full-scale plant right now operating near Hyderabad, treating about 1,600 meter cube of wastewater per day with this symbiotic relationship between algae and bacteria. And this, Mr. Gaurav, just reminds me that algae, we have further gone ahead one more step in terms of developing liquid plants. So liquid plants are again very interesting, concept, wherein we all know that how a plant, organic plant, any trees that we plant, it helps in sequestration of the carbon. It takes the carbon dioxide, and thereby, the one of the important greenhouse gas is controlled thereby. But if you see overall on the earth, almost 65 to 70% of carbon is sequestrated by algae. So they are the silent plants which are taking the carbon dioxide. So the concept here is like you have a concrete, now our cities have become concrete jungles. So in the concrete jungle itself, we have a liquid tree, a tree which is holding some water. It is not a water again, it's a wastewater. And in that, the algae grows. And algae, the rate of growth of algae is phenomenal. You just have to provide some LED, some lights, which are again, aesthetically pleasing. And these trees, one such liquid tree is equivalent to more than about 150 normal trees, full-grown trees, which takes almost about 10 to 15 years for its growth. So this is the kind of innovations which are possible in the bioenergy, and that way it's also again quite exciting.
That's interesting, this liquid plants. One last comment from my side, I think then we are open for the questions. So basically, a lot normally is being talked about technical innovation. A lot people think about financial innovation as well, how to get it financed, blah, 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 and all this. But from the social side, that is one of the very important thing. We need to really look into it, how to really think from the social innovation perspective. At association as well, we keep doing a lot of brainstorming. So one of the idea we thought, especially from the decentralized perspective, is that how to really channelize the cattle dung in a manner that makes people even more excited about it. So we came out with an idea called Gai Adharit Unnati, GAU. In that, we figured out how to really do the facial recognition of the cow, and based on that, we try to see. So let's say in future you get a milk, pouch of milk, and you know that this milk is coming from this cow. So ultimately, the idea is that if you are getting the biogas, you know that this biogas is coming from this particular cattle. So that's the kind of modeling we try to think about. Maybe with this, I would like to open the floor for any question, and please feel free. I mean, we are here to really take care of your question. Doesn't matter if it's from technical side or financial side or social side. Policy also falls under social only. Any question? Otherwise, we start asking question. Huh? Yes, please. Amit?
Hello.
Or you can take this mic if you want. We have got the spare mic. You can take from us, sir. I think you can take.
Hello. Can you throw some more light on how the startups can get into this business from your experience?
So this is a very interesting sector and interesting times to be in. And if you are passionate about sustainability, clean energy, then bioenergy is a space to be in. Because there's immense potential is there. You can create your own mark, your own on this industry. So that is what keeps you on gluing to this goal of you starting up a startup in biofuels, bioenergy. Lot of policy support is there. Market support is also going up. So if you want to really this thing, like you want to do something in your life, this is one of the best fields to be in India right now.
So any ecosystem is also there, like any financial support from government for?
Yeah, like as Gauravji mentioned, yes, central government is giving subsidy, and state governments, few state governments, they are already also giving subsidy. And if you talk about loans, priority sector lending is the loan, you can get it. But again, you need to have some other things also to get that loan. Lot of investors, like clean tech investors, are also showing interest. So going forward, it will be very, very good. Than what I'm talking right now, it is day by day, it is increasing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just one thing to add to it, especially for the startup. As I told you, startup solves a problem. You need to define the problem statement. For example, here I talked about, or we all talked about that with biogas, you also get the biofertilizer. So right now, when I will ask you, tell me a name of the chemical fertilizer company, you will tell me a lot of company names, IFCO, CRIPCO, I don't know what not. If I'll ask you, tell me one international or national biofertilizer company, can you tell me one? It's very difficult, right? So I think one of the things I would really suggest that don't generalize it. Try to see in the whole value chain where you want to play your role as a startup. So right now 5,000 plants are supposed to come under such a scheme. Yeah? They all will need a lot of things from civil side, from mechanical side, from electrical electronic side, from piping side, from microbiology side, from EPC side, from supply side, a lot. Yeah? So I would rather say that you define the problem statement which you would like to look into, look for the solution, and then I think it will be easier for you to really get into the startup ecosystem, especially in bioenergy. Otherwise, again, it will become very confusing, to be very honest. Huh?
Hi. My name is Bala. Bala. I'm from Pune. So we talked about a lot of waste like agricultural waste, then food waste, and then plant waste. So do you have any solution for sewer? Because cities are generating a lot of sewer, right? So do you see any solution for sewer treatment and convert the sewer into biogas or something which is useful in decentralized manner?
So you are mainly emphasizing on decentralized solution, right?
Yeah.
So you want to comment?
First of all, I would like to tell you that when you're talking about sewage treatment plants or STPs, these are centralized based out of cities, and we have already installed a plant in 2012, another plant in 2014, which was collecting the raw biogas generated out of these STPs or sewage treatment plants, and we converted into CNG. And since past 10 years, the vehicles are running on the same gas. So these are already in place. We need to understand that when you talk about STPs, whether you mean about the small scale residential level, then it would be really difficult to handle the residential level because the gas potential of that particular waste is very, very less. Okay, so few models you need centralized models only. So these would not be economical solutions or economic viable options if you try to treat these type of waste in a centralized way, decentralized way.
Okay, because why I'm asking, because corporations are mandating societies to set up STPs, okay, and societies are spending a lot of money to run those STPs, and then again we're treating the sewer and releasing, and then it will go to the cities STPs. So here societies are spending money and they are not getting anything, and sewer is again it has a value, right? If you see it has a value. So so there is nothing like something wherein societies can benefit by running STP at society level.
Any society of with 50 flats and above, we can install a sewage treatment plant combined with the organic waste treatment in the same unit. We had already done this in Mumbai, and for a year, people never believed that they had a treatment plant. Only after the festival of Holi which came, everybody after using colors they had bath. Then the next day they saw that their flush was coming, all the colorful different types of color water was there. Then they realized that yes, we have a STP and a biogas plant underground in our premises. So this is where, and it is possible, treating your STP and the organic waste combined together, any size above 50 flats is possible.
Thank you, sir.
I think we are just in time here. So thanks everyone. It was really interesting to interact. We are still available just in case you have any question. Over to you, Amit.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know everybody's famished. I would like to thank Indian Biogas Association and Gaurav Kedia for always supporting our programs. We also have the awards, just to let you know that we have the RE awards going on, which will start at 3 p.m. So I would request everyone, all the invitees to be part of the program at a round of applause for our moderator, our panelists, please. Thank you. Mr. Gaurav Kedia, sorry. Mr. Vijaykumar Lanka. Mr. Srinivas Kasula. Mr. Kiran KK. Along with this, I would like to invite my team and Mr. Sarfaraz Ali and Ms. Renuka to join us for a group photograph with the panelists and the moderator. So ladies and gentlemen, we break for a quick lunch and I request to see all the invitees for the RE Awards. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you so much, panelists.